Welcome to the GoalZero Toolbox Talk series. Today's Toolbox Talk. Powder Actuated Tools 2. Whenever you operate a powder actuated tool, PAT, safe work practices must always be followed. These tools are designed to drive nails or other fastening devices into materials such as concrete, steel, and masonry, which are not easily penetrated. These devices use explosive charges like a firearm. Since the charge is like a firearm, powder actuated tools can fire nails and fasten devices into human flesh. Great respect for these tools and the safety precautions for them must be maintained. Powder actuated hand tools probably have as much safety built into them as practically any tools on the market. In addition, manufacturers usually provide complete instructions and training for the safe operation of the tools. These two factors alone should make the use of powder actuated tools a safe operation. To start with, only trained, certified, and authorized personnel who are checked out for the correct usage and safety should operate powder actuated tools. A powder actuated tool operates like a loaded gun, so it should be handled with the same respect and safety precautions. When a job calls for a pad, be sure to choose the correct cartridge for the fastener being used, then load the tool just before you intend to use it, keeping your hands clear of the open barrel end. Never carry a loaded pat from job to job and don't leave it unattended. The muzzle end of the powder actuated tool must have a protective shield, or a guard centered perpendicular to and concentric with the barrel to confine any projectile fragments and particles that could be launched when the tool is fired. If a tool has a high velocity load, it must be designed not to fire unless it has this kind of safety device. To prevent the powder actuated tool from firing accidentally, tool designers develop these powerful tools with a protective feature that requires two separate motions, each of which must be done to fire the tool. The first motion brings the tool into the firing position, and the second motion pulls the trigger. The tool must not be able to operate until it is pressed against the work surface with a force of at least 5 pounds greater than the total weight of the tool. If a powder actuated tool misfires, the user must hold the tool in the operating position for at least 30 seconds before trying to fire it again. If it still will not fire, hold it for another 30 seconds in the operating position. Then, instead of trying to fire it again, this time carefully remove the load according to the manufacturer's instructions. Following this procedure will lessen the likelihood of the faulty cartridge exploding. The bad cartridge must then be put in water immediately after removal. If the powder actuated tool develops a defect during use, it should be tagged and taken out of service immediately until properly repaired by a trained technician. Safe practices for powder actuated tools. Before use, the operator must inspect to verify that the tool is clean, all moving parts operate freely, the barrel is free from obstructions, and correct shields, guards, or safety attachments recommended by the manufacturer are in place. A powder actuated tool should never be loaded until it is ready for use. Any defective or poorly working tool should be immediately removed from service and tagged as unsafe. Always wear proper personal protective equipment, PPE, when operating powder actuated tools. Powder actuated tools should not be used in areas where flammable or combustible atmospheres may be present. The tool is a source of ignition and could cause an explosion. When operating a powder actuated tool, press and hold the tool firmly against the surface into which the fastening device is being driven. Never shoot a fastener into a surface unless you are certain it will contain the fastener. Take time to examine both the surface and the object being penetrated to assure your safety and the safety of others. The fastener can pass completely through the material and turn into a flying projectile.